Thank you, and thanks, Kell. And you want to do this?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I just see you do it. Gary Brown's going to come up here. Gary Brown's a man that's come to New Mexico Poetry several years ago and has really worked his butt off putting out magazines, and he became a good friend to Kell's, and Kell respected him, and he's got a memorial edition out for Kell. Well, it's partially dedicated to Kell. Be out in a month or so, something like that. Gary Brower from Placitas.
Thank you, Kendall. Yeah, this is the latest issue. This is a proof. The actual issue will be out. I'll have it in February 21st. It's you can buy it at various places in Albuquerque, Opposite and Santa Fe, Alamosa, Acequia, page 1, in Albuquerque, online at Amazon.com. 38 pages of this issue that's coming out, this is a proof, are dedicated to Kell Robertson. And I featured him as the featured poet in the Malpais Review of last spring. And I was at the burial when Mike Good was there, and Kendall was there, and Bill Nevins was there, and Argos McCollum was there, and the others. And I really, it was a day we knew it would come, but it was not a day we wanted to see. And I'm going to read just one poem here by Kell, and then I'm going to read a poem sequence I wrote for him. This is Kell's poem called After the Funeral. True, we're all growing up to death. Maturity is then that final sleep. After a hard day's work, we can lay down somewhere and let it go. When the final payment is made and recycling begins, it's good to know you got your fill of it. When my friend died, he simply looked astonished, and we threw dirt down into that astonishment. What did he see that we can't? A raven with a wicked eye flicks a glance at me today as if he knows but won't tell. Through a mud-splattered window, sun falls on a dusty hymnal. Someone smacks its surface, his certainty gone in a puff of dust, and the fading notes of the last song he'll ever hope to sing. You can't sing with a mouthful of dirt. Somebody ought to shoot out the sun. And that's Kell. Kell was a hell of a poet, one of the best ever in this state. And this is my poem for him. It's called A Full Coyote Moon Desperado Monologue from the Grave. So I'm kind of trying to channel Kell's voice here. And it starts out with a dedication to Kell. And it's a quote then from his poem for Woody Guthrie. Quote, Zapata swings his rifle around, and the eyes of men retain the fire to fix the fences or burn the world down. Unquote. 1. Remember, this is Kell from the grave. I camped out in the winter of the world all my life, in the forest of memories, stubborn as tree stumps, waiting for a summer that never came, burning a lot of bridges for fuel. 2. Sometimes another drifter like me would show up out of nowhere, both of us flapping like torn flags in the breeze. I'd make tramp coffee, and we recited poems at the altar of our alter egos, watched birds fight for food with jumpy squirrels. 3. I'd go to sleep at times beside the campfire, an empty bottle of forgetfulness on the ground from the night before, wake up at first light under a snow-lace curtain, the cold as sharp as the snap of a stick. I'd walk around the fire to warm up, even joke to myself that reciting Frost would make it colder. 4. I wrote in my notebooks when I could, went to nearby towns to pray at bars that were my churches, ended up at times in the drunk tank catacombs, sleeping off the past. Next day to the rescue mission where we had to sing I Love Jesus for a plate of food, as if we were seals trained by hunger. 5. I saw Hank in concert once. A drunken Jesus with guitar. The alcohol of his voice entered every pore of my body like a full dunk baptism in the liquor of loneliness. When Hank saw the light, I saw it too, wrote by its spark for years, though later he said, there ain't no light. After his death, I rolled away the stone whenever I could, and Hank walked on the water of his words again. I sang his hymnal, wearing a cold, cold heart on one sleeve, a cheating heart the other. In later life, my own words and guitar reached out at times, grabbed me a place to stay with friendly women, and I sang of Hank's sudden death, Woody's slow demise, and Billy Joe Shaver's old five-and-dimers like me. When I walked into any church with beer nuts for communion wafers and a bartender priest, I looked at the women there and said, hey, good looking, what you got cooking? Let's get some jambalaya, crawfish pie, and filet gumbo before I go down that lost highway. Hank had the nothing that everything could buy. I had something that nothing could acquire. We thought the bottle would kill loneliness, but that was the potion inside. 6. I came from the past, never left it, lived in the land of the forgotten, played music from the history of desperation, a one-horse stampede, never believed the future could feed me because the manna that fell from any heaven was always snow that melted before it touched the tongue. 7. Every time I walked through the snow globe of this world, there was a blizzard in my eyes. 8. Out in the forest, I'd sing like a banshee in the wind, whittled the aspens with my voice, while the blood of the Sangre de Cristos turned winter white, and a raven loosed a call that became an echo in the box canyon of my life. When it flew away, a long black feather lay on the snow like a quill pen to dip into the ink of the night. 9. Zapata's shadow stretches out in the cyclopic light of the full moon that shines on the cholla by my gravestone. I've been waiting for him to lend a hand to the hungry coyotes of this land, for when the people are pushed too far, they'll reach for trigger and crowbar. A lesson from the Gospel of Zapata. Givers against their better nature must strangle the takers who are high on the drug of greed before the poison of their arrogant selfishness enslaves then destroys the world. Viva Zapata is tattooed on my tongue. The leveling wind carries the slogan everywhere each time it passes over my grave. 10. Now that my horse is gone, since desperation is only for the living, I walk these memories like the ghost of an abused child, drinking the whiskey of my death with no chaser of regret, no ice of cold guilt. My vengeance is to die before ecocide takes this world, whose rulers, like evil stepfathers drunk on power, spit in the face of the truth. From my grave, I shit on the soul of exploiters. Listen for the music that accompanies their execution. Bullets from 9mm stanzas. Thank you.